guys, Mr. Mackey here. Now yesterday we were continuing on circles and I was showing you how to find missing sides like the diameter and radius when we only have the circumference or the area to work on. And the challenge I set you was I had this circle here, we know the circumference, and I wanted you to find the area. Now what we have to do first is find the diameter of this circle. And remember how we find the circumference? We do pi multiplied by the diameter. So to find our missing diameter, we have to divide 26.7 by pi. So enter in your calculators, 26.7 divided by pi. That will get you 8.498873. I'm going to do it to two decimal places because that's the two decimal places. So that is 8.5 meters. That's the first step done. But when we work out the area of circles, we don't use the diameter. We use the radius, which is how far it is from the edge of the circle to the centre. Now remember, the radius is half of the diameter. So all you have to do is you halve 8.5 and you'll end up with a radius of 4.25 metres. Now the final thing we need to do is, now that we know the radius, you just need to square that radius and multiply it by pi. So we do pi multiplied by 4.25 squared, and you will end up to two decimal places, the answer, 56.75 metres squared. And that's how you find the area. Now we're going to be moving away from areas today and moving on from circles. And we're going to be focusing on something completely different. Now what we've been doing for the past 2 weeks entirely focused on two-dimensional or 2D shapes. What if we move on to another dimension? I'm talking about 3D or three-dimensional shapes. Now when we find the area of three-dimensional shapes, we don't find the area because the area is what you use for two-dimensional. We find something instead called the volume. Now the volume is how much can fit inside a three-dimensional shape. Now I have a cube here, which is the equivalent of a 3D square. And I want to find the volume of this cube. Now what I have got is I've got the base, the height, and I've got the width. So if I was to slice this cube into loads of tiny pieces, they'll all still have a base of 8 and a height of 8. So, how do we find the volume? The first thing we have to do is we find the area of the front of our cube. And we know that because we've got 8 and 8. So we multiply them together and that gives us an area of 64 metres squared. Now, we found the area, we found the front of this 3D shape. But this 3D shape goes back continuously by 8 metres. So to find the volume, we have to multiply our 64 by the width of the 3D shape, which is 8. And that will get us, anyone know? You might need a calculator for this. That will get us 512 metres. But do we do it to the power of 2? Well, to the power of 2, it's area. Do we do it to the power of 1? Well, that's perimeter. We do it because it's a 3D shape to the power of 3, which is the equivalent of 512 metres cubed. Can you see what I did there? So, all you have to do to find the volume of a 3D shape is you work out the area of the front of it, and then you multiply it by how long it is. Let's try another one. Now, the most common example of 3D shapes that are out there are known as prisms. This is an example of a prism. Now let me explain what makes a shape a prism. Let's say that this was a loaf of bread you bought in your local supermarket. And what you do when you get home is you slice that loaf of bread into loads of different slices. For example, if you want sandwich, toast, whatever. What makes this shape a prism is wherever you slice it, it will look the same. So if you were to slice it, it will always have a base of 12 and a height of 4. Every slice will look exactly the same. The width won't be the same because the width is how long that loaf of bread is. But the front will always be the same. Not all shapes are prisms. For example, a 3D shape that I've got here is, well, my duck. first thing I can think of, guys. If I was to slice my Rodrigo, that's his name, into loads of different pieces, they won't all look the same. However, if I was to slice this box of whiteboard pens into different pieces, they will always have the same front right here. That's what makes shaped prisms. Now, I've got this shape here, and I've got the base of 12 and a height of 4. What is the volume? So, what you do is you work out the area of this shape first, the front. So you do 12 multiplied by 4, and that gets you 48 centimetres squared. Then you multiply that 48 by 20, and that will get you 960 centimetres cubed. And that's all you have to do to work out the volume. Area times width. The Toblerones are quite similar as well, because when you split them, they will always have a triangular front. Now this is a triangular prism, because when you slice it, it will always look the same. And we do nothing different. We still find the area of the front. The only difference is how we find the area, because it's a different shape, you have to use a different method. So we do our 8 times 6, which gets you 48, and you halve that 48 because it's a triangle. That gets us an area of 24 centimetres squared. Then all you have to do is you do that 24 multiplied by that 12, and that will get you the overall volume 288 centimetres cubed. And it's that simple. Now, let's try a different one, and this one is going to be your challenge for today. Now, this is a cylinder which is 4 metres tall and it's 6 metres in diameter. Your challenge today is I want you to find for me the volume of this cylinder. What do we have to do to figure it out? How do we find the area of the front of this cylinder? Loads of different questions. I'm intrigued how you're going to solve this. Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow where we're going to do more volumes with some more challenging shapes. Take care, guys. See you tomorrow.